Dear students, the name of my educational channel is Partha Guha English Text Reading. In this video, I am discussing the summary of the great play Macbeth, written by William Shakespeare. You yourself follow this audio and also share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to get all the notifications of new video classes provided for you. Now let's start. In this drama, there are 5 acts. In Act 1, we see that 3 witches meet in a desert in the midst of thunder and lightning. They speak of a battle and propose to meet Macbeth after the battle is lost and won. Duncan, King of Scotland, receives the news of the battle from a bleeding captain and then a nobleman, Ross. The rebel MacDonald has been killed in the battlefield. The Norwegian king, who wages a fresh battle, is also defeated along with the treacherous Thane of Cawdor by Macbeth and Banquo. Macbeth is called brave and noble. Duncan is full of gratitude to him and confers on him the title of Thane of Cawdor. The witches greet Macbeth and Banquo and hail the former as Thane of Glamis and Thane of Cawdor and king hereafter. For Banquo, it is predicted by the witches that he would be father of kings. Ross brings the news of Macbeth's new honor to him. Macbeth's ambition is kindled. 2 truths have been told, and he thinks of fulfilling the third one. The thought of murder occurs to him. Macbeth is received by Duncan with affection and gratitude. The king expresses his wish to visit Macbeth's castle as his guest. Lady Macbeth reads Macbeth's letter and comes to know all about the predictions of the witches. His ambition is inflamed. She has, however, misgivings about her husband's cowardly nature. She resolves to pour her spirits in his ear and urges him to the murder. The messenger comes with the news of the king's coming, the lady reveals in the chance that offers itself unsought. When Macbeth comes, Lady Macbeth tutors him about how will behave. Duncan and Banquo arrive and are warmly received by the hostess. A banquet is given in honor of Duncan, and Macbeth slips away from the banquet. He is perturbed by the horror of the murder. He decides not to proceed further. He is, however, won over by Lady Macbeth. Macbeth resolves upon the murder of Duncan. In the second act, we observe that Banquo is restless and pacing up to and fro at midnight. He is disturbed by the cursed thoughts. He, however, prays to the merciful powers to restrain in him the evil thoughts. Macbeth sees a dagger floating before him and directing him to the chamber where Duncan sleeps. It is the figment of his fevered mind. He waits for the bell to ring, which will be a signal to him for entering the chamber of Duncan and killing him. Lady Macbeth hears a noise and thinks that it will awake all. Macbeth staggers into the room with the words, "I have done the deed." He still holds the daggers in his hands and continues his ravings. He is filled with horror and indulges in delirious talks. Lady Macbeth cannot follow his imaginative flights and agony of spirit. A knocking is heard at the gate. The drunken porter is roused by the knocking. In his drunkenness, he thinks that he is the porter of the hell gate. Macduff and Lennox enter, and Macduff goes to Duncan's chamber to wake him. He instantly comes back with the news of the murder. Macbeth enters the scene and announces that he has killed the grooms in a fit of anger. Macduff suspects Macbeth. "Wherefore did you so?" Macbeth explains that the speed of his love outran reason. Lady Macbeth faints. Malcolm and Donalbain, Duncan's two sons, become afraid that they may also be murdered. They fly to England and Ireland. Ross and an old man speak about the strange portents seen on the night of murder. They threaten the bloody stage. They symbolize the disorder. Macbeth is named king and goes to scorn to be crowned. Act 3. In Act 3, we see that Macbeth is afraid of Banquo and Fleance. He has arranged a banquet to which he invites Banquo. He manages to drag out particulars about Banquo's movements and those of his son Fleance. He plans to have them killed. He says, "Fail not our feast." He entrusts the killing of Banquo and Fleance to two hired assassins, Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. Gradually sinks in desolation and despair. Macbeth is desperate and despondent. Banquo is killed, but Fleance escapes. In the banquet scene, Macbeth is stricken with horror at the sight of the blood boltered ghost of Banquo. Macbeth makes some compromising disclosures. Lady Macbeth tries to save the situation. She dismisses the party suddenly. The lords depart with the suspicion about the guilt of Macbeth. When the ghost is gone, Macbeth is a normal man again. He remembers that Macduff has declined the invitation. He plans his cards. Macduff remains. He will bathe in the blood again. Macbeth meets the witches. Hecate, their mistress, takes the witches to task for having dealt with Macbeth without consulting her. Lennox and a lord speak about their attitude to Macbeth, who is now regarded as a tyrant. We know about the gathering forces of resistance against Macbeth. Macduff has joined Malcolm in England. They are to be reinforced by the English army. So, reaction starts. In the Act 4, we can see that Macbeth meets the witches who warn him against Macduff. He is, however, assured that no man born of women can harm him, and that he has no fear of defeat until Barnum Wood to Dunsinane comes. Banquo is told that he will be the father of kings. Macbeth is informed of Macduff's flight to Scotland. He resolves to attack Macduff's castle and kill his family. Lady Macduff and her little son converse. Macduff's flight is reported to his wife by Ross. Lady Macduff is wounded and annoyed that Macduff has fled, leaving them to the mercy of the tyrant. Ross cannot explain to her the cause of Macduff's flight. The murderers appear and kill the boy and Lady Macduff. Macbeth has become a dead butcher. Macduff and Malcolm meet. The young prince suspects the bona fides of Macduff and subjects him to a long test. And at the end, he is assured of his loyalty and patriotism. Ross arrives and gives the news of the destruction of the Macduff family. The agony of Macduff hardens into a vehement resolve for vengeance. Lady Macbeth walks in sleep. He rehearses in sleep the terrible scenes of murder and banquet. The Scottish soldiers are on the march. They will be joined by the English forces at Birnam Wood. Macbeth is weary of life. He lays bare the sickness of his heart. He understands that his way of life is fallen into the seer, the yellow leaves. He pines for the loss of love, honor, obedience, and troops of friends. He is weary and defiant alternately. He waits for the enemy and has fortified the castle of Dunsinane. He hears the news of his own men flying away from him. He is, however, secure in his hope that he will be not defeated till Birnam Wood moves to Dunsinane. The English soldiers under Seward join Malcolm's army. Malcolm suggests that they will fight under a camouflage. They would hide themselves under cover of branches of trees of Birnam Wood. Macbeth thinks that his castle is strong enough to defy the attack of the enemy. He is now dead to all feelings. Women's cry does not touch him. He takes the news of Queen's death with cold indifference. He reviews his own life and realizes that he has made a huge waste of life. A messenger arrives with the news that the Birnam Wood has begun to move. He realizes that his days are numbered. He resolves to fight and die in harness. The castle is surrounded Macbeth feels that he is tied to a stake like a bear, yet he would fight the attack. He meets young Seward and kills him in a hand to hand fight. Macduff is on the lookout for Macbeth. The castle yields to the enemies. Macbeth realizes that his end has come, yet he will not commit suicide like the Roman heroes. He would continue to fight. Macduff meets Macbeth and challenges him to fight. Macbeth comes to know that Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely reaped or taken out. Macbeth now realizes that the witches have juggled with words and deceived him the ambiguous language. But he will not yield to Macduff. He fights and is killed like a hero. Macduff comes with the cursed head of the tyrant and meets Malcolm and the lords. Malcolm is hailed as the King of Scotland by the lords, and Macduff declares that Scotland is free from tyranny. Malcolm assures all that he will restore Scotland to order and recall the exiled friends and perform his duties in proper degree. He invites all to Scone, where he will be crowned. Today I finish here. I hope you have understood. If you have any question, write it in the comment box. I must try to answer your questions. I will communicate with you in my next video.